from season 2.
This fucking guy.
Episode 2, Simpson and Delilah.
For your free brochure, send $5 to Demoxenil, 485 Hair Plaza, Hair City, Utah.
Hair. Just like everybody else.
This is the Carl episode. No? I love this episode. This episode's awesome.
Yeah, I kind of thought this was going to be a thing that I think you like early Simpsons way more than I do. I like mid-range Simpsons like that. I prefer like seasons, I would say 4 to 7, whereas I think you are more like 2 to 5.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's more where we differ. But the Carl, I know this episode.
This is a masterpiece episode.
It's a fun episode. Yeah. Again, I don't really like the earlier episodes. I find it's not that I don't like them. I just when you hold them up against season 5 and 6 and the zaniness of the mid, the season 5s and the season 4s, I don't really like the sappier episodes that are a little more dramatic. I think you like those dramatic episodes more, which is going to be really fascinating when we go into our top 10 least favorite episodes.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, our 10
curious.
Least favorite. I don't know what you're going to come up with. So
yeah,
by all means, go ahead, take it away. Simpson and Delilah.
I'll finish this off here. Yep. So Simpson and Delilah. This is the episode where Homer loses his hair. So Homer uses the Springfield Power Plant's medical insurance plan to pay for a hair restoring drug, which is called Demoxenil. The odds are Demoxenil can help me grow as much or as little hair as I want to. Hey, today I'm going to do it. Then it's like Demoxenil.
Yeah, it's like the stereotypical
like classic,
medical
like,
ad of like, yeah. Yeah.
So the drug is worth $1,000, although the plant doesn't actually cover Demoxenil. He obviously scams the medical insurance plan. After applying the drug, he wakes up the next day with a full head of hair, which is like, that's not how that would work, but whatever. Mr. Burns scans his security monitors to find someone to promote to the token position of junior executive. Mistaking Homer for a young, unspoiled go-getter, Mr. Burns promotes him. Homer has...
This also like ties into the thing that you like, that Mr. Burns never knows who Homer Simpson is.
I love this. Yeah, this ties into like...
He's like, ooh, who's that young go-getter?
Who's that young go-getter?
Yeah, right. Just because he's got a full head of hair.
Yeah,
so,
all of a sudden he just wakes up the next day and has hair.
Full head.
I love that, Mr. Burns is like, ooh, who's that?
Yeah,
like, I think I have the quote written down where it's like, who's that young go-getter?
Who is that young go-getter?
Well, it sort of looks like Homer Simpson, only more dynamic and resourceful.
Simpson, eh?
yeah, resourceful. Yeah.
I love that shit.
I'll let you continue on the plot.
No,
there's
there's
a lot of good things in this episode for sure.
Yeah,
but go ahead, continue on the plot there. So Homer scams the company insurance to get hair growth
formula.
Yeah.
And it's an immediate success, and it actually immediately like helps him get promoted.
This is your number 2.
I love this episode.
So you really like this episode. Wow.
It's a classic. Homer has trouble finding a secretary who is not a seductive young woman. So he eventually hires Carl, I love the hiring sequence.
Carl is one of the fun, Carl's one of the best guest one-off characters. Who is it? Harvey Firestone?
Harvey Firestein. Yeah.
Firestein.
I think it's Firestein.
Yeah, Firestein does the voice.
Just amazing. I think he is probably one of my favorite, one-off, random, he's only in this episode.
Mr. Simpson.
Yeah.
My mother never told me.
Yes.
Told me to never kiss a man. Yeah.
My mother told me never to kiss a fool.
Yeah.
Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And then, we can get into all that, but
Sorry, I'm skipping ahead.
Yeah, we're skipping ahead, but obviously.
Keep going. So he hires Carl instead of a bunch of these, seductive.
We've got attention, Mr. Simpson. You've been promoted. You're now junior executive. Take 3 minutes to say goodbye to your former friends.
Yeah, friends,
former friends. We get Harvey Firestein. I want to point out this too. This is interesting. Harvey Firestein is an openly gay man and actor, and this is 1990.
Yes.
This is a big deal.
This is in the no gays era.
Yeah.
You don't.
The fact that this was treated with such humanity and respect, to have it doesn't out and out say that he's gay, but even in the episode, Carl is like shown living in this like luxurious like house for one shot, and you can hear another man talking to him from the other room. And like it's played by Firestein. He's an openly gay actor, so it's like the show is treating it with just complete respect. Whereas like, you know,
it's not openly said, but it's kind of said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly, Smithers doesn't act gay in this episode.
Yeah,
this is way before Smithers. They made him a gay character.
Yeah,
way before.
I don't know when they started to do that.
I don't know,
but
they start because at first he was just a lackey.
Yeah, in this episode, he's very much just like angry that Homer is taking his place,
right?
And he's just like a bitter lackey
like,
that's
right,
like, yeah. So, I would love to play the clip of when Carl gets hired by Homer because he has this amazing monologue. So we'll just play a little clip of that.
Cut to that right now, or maybe I didn't.
Just or maybe you didn't. Just to fuck with me.
Just so it's us sitting there going,
"You don't belong here."
Huh?
You don't belong here. You're a fraud and a phony, and it's only a matter of time until they find you out.
Who told you?
You did. You told me with the way you slump your shoulders, the way you talk into your chest, the way you smother yourself in bargain basement lime green polyester. I want you to say to yourself, I deserve this. I love it. I am nature's greatest miracle. Go ahead, say it.
I don't.
Trust me, Homer. Take a step and say it.
I deserve this.
Louder.
I deserve this.
Shout it.
I am nature's greatest miracle!
So Homer's career is on the up and up with Carl. And I also want to point out, this is like often a cliche in media and in like pop culture is the cliche of like the magical like black person or the magical minority or the magical gay person who like comes down from heaven like an angel and is just there to be like a Mary Poppins that directly improves some like character's life and then just disappears kind of thing.
right.
I think they're playing with that trope, but like it is a trope, but I just think it's done so well and with like so much reverence and humanity towards the character and Firestein that it works for me. I know some people can criticize those things from time to time. You know what I'm talking about, but I don't know. I fucking love this episode. It's like you said, it's an episode with like heart and soul from the earlier Simpsons.
The early Simpsons is very. I said the word sappy, but it's very.
A lot of people say that.
It's
sappy.
It's very dramatic.
It's melodramatic. Yeah.
Early
that
Simpsons
kind of
is very. The thing I like about this episode, probably the most, like obviously I love Carl, and we can get more into that. But the thing I think I like about this episode the most is the relatability and the tragedy of good looks equaling success.
Yes, and I want to point that out.
And that's a very like this is like we don't want to admit this, but beautiful people have it easier in life.
Yeah.
You do, and don't act like you don't. And if you are watching this, you are more beautiful than the mongoloids on the screen right now.
Most certainly.
Yeah, so you're already way ahead of us. You're all junior executives and VPs and all that shit. No, but it really...
I have so many little things to talk about this episode. Thank you for bringing that up, because...
That's a real thing.
That's a real thing, but also that's an element to Homer's character, which, like, this makes Homer feel like a real person. Because, like... Oftentimes, like, Homer in the later seasons is just zany and wacky and just like a buffoon, and he does crazy stunts. But this is like a middle-aged man dealing with his hair falling out and being like, oh no, like, this part of my identity, and like, am I gonna have respect? Is my wife gonna love me? Like, that kind of stuff. Like, early Simpsons was tackling those things in interesting and funny and heartwarming ways. Like,
and you actually see it play out in the episode.
Yeah.
So when he gets hair, everyone starts treating him differently.
Yes.
Patty and Selma, who notoriously don't like him.
Yeah.
Suddenly, when Homer walks in, their jaws hit the floor because Homer looks so much more attractive. They are actually attracted to him, so now they're being very polite with him.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's an interesting dynamic. It's a sad reality of beautiful people. Like, the better looking you are, the easier you're going to have it in life. It's just, that's a sad reality, and you see it play out in the episode that Homer. The other thing is when you look more attractive, or sorry, I guess the way to put this is when you feel more attractive, you are more attractive. So Homer's confidence level goes through the roof when he gets hair. he starts acting more confident about himself.
Yeah.
Like, it changes, your personality even changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll keep going through little tidbits I like, but yeah, bottom line, a classic, beautiful episode focused on Homer's humanity and vulnerability with like a progressive, like gay character that is like one of the best one-off characters. Yeah. So Carl, as Homer's secretary, just like dramatically improves his life too. I love that he just comes in as like, there's the whole montage of him getting him new clothes.
Yes.
That's great too.
Gets him like a new suit.
Gets him a new suit. Homer forgets Marge's anniversary, which that is the Carl hires the Joe Cocker singer. You are so beautiful.
You are so beautiful to me.
We should just cut to
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
to me. Yeah, that's great. So Homer receives the key to the executive washroom. That's a great
That's
gag.
a funny, where he's like, "Don't you sit on that awful, disgusting toilet 1 second, longer."
Yeah.
Just a minute.
You've been given
The key.
the key.
Yeah.
Every fucking goddamn line that Harvey Firestein delivers is just
It's
like
incredible.
fucking perfect.
I love the idea
Yeah.
that like there's an entire wing of
Oh
the
yeah,
power
yeah.
plant that doesn't
that
even
visual gag of it's like, oh well, he's got the executive washroom, but no, it's like a gigantic
look wing
wing of
where
the
it's
power
got like
plant.
black. It's like black and white, like tiled floor.
There's,
and
like, exotic birds.
servants.
I think there's like tropical birds and
Yeah.
like a water fountain. There's
Yeah,
like a
it's
butler.
it's basically a completely different, and it's a wing of the power plant you never see again. One of the funny gags with the power plant is it's so large, and Mr. Burns is such an eccentric millionaire that at any time they can go, "Oh yeah, this room existed."
yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? And they do that in many episodes where it's like, "Oh, he has this room now." All of a sudden, the
Yeah.
room with the 200-inch television or something. You know, they can always. There's always another
There's
room.
always, but this is an
Yeah.
early version of that gag.
Very-
of just
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
by the way, this is gigantic wing
Right,
of the
right.
power plant. That's always funny. So Smithers obviously is angry and resentful that like Homer's rising in status at the company. Mr. Burns is like starting to see him as like reliable, and it's like, oh, he could end up replacing me. So Smithers checks into the company's files and realizes that Homer is frauding the company for the medical hair treatment. But instead of Homer getting fired, Carl steps in and is like, I did it. And Carl takes the blame for the whole thing, falls on his sword. And then we lead to the climax of the episode, which is Homer has to give the big speech for the committee.
And this is this is where they really nail the theme of the episode. And
Yeah.
it's
exactly
it's
loops
very
back to what you
sad.
talked
Well,
about.
it's very sad because Homer gets hair. He's looking more attractive. He's feeling more confident. Everybody around him treats him better. He's suddenly more successful at everything. His hair falls out due to Bart accidentally losing the whatever the formula was.
Demoxenil.
Yeah, because he
formula.
knocks it over the bottle and then it dumps out, right?
Yeah.
And then Homer
There's that sad scene where he's like trying to rub his head into the carpet.
in the carpet. So then now Homer's bald and has to give the speech, and he gives this speech to the other executives, and it's all good information. It's all like really valid stuff, but they don't take him seriously just because he's bald. Like just because he looks different, they just don't listen to him at all.
Yeah.
Which is like
No one takes him seriously.
it's really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So after he, everyone walks out on his speech, actually.
yeah.
Then,
They walk
Mr.
out.
Burns gives him his old job back, sympathizing with him for having male pattern baldness, just like Burns does.
So that's a very good tender.
There's actually a connection
Yes,
kind of there.
that's a really good tender
Yeah.
moment between Mr. Burns and Homer. Is Mr. Burns shows him photos of him as when he's older, or when he was younger, and then you see slowly his hair's falling out.
Yeah.
And he says, "I too know the sting of male pattern baldness."
Yeah. So he returns
Beautiful
home,
moment.
and at night, Marge says that his dead-end job as a safety inspector is always provided for the family. And as Homer's worried about the baldness, it ends with Marge singing him the "You Are So Beautiful" song, and then we go
Again,
to credits.
very tender moment.
It's like, Yeah, but I also want to talk about the iconic moment of Carl just like being like the pump up before the speech, or the "My mother told me never to kiss a fool."
You did it all. It was never the hair. You did it because you believed you could and you still can.
No, I can't. I'm just a big fool.
Oh, no, you're not.
How do you know?
Because my mother taught me never to kiss a fool.
Carl.
Now go get him, tiger.
Like every fucking line delivery from Carl is just gold. I love it. So it's got heart, it's got soul, it's got solid jokes per minute, it's got solid visual gags. It's a classic early season 2 episode. I fucking love this.
It's a really good season 2
Yeah.
episode. 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I think it's my favorite, easily my favorite season 2 episode. And
I mean, you got
my
it. Number
second,
fucking 2 of all time.
And I love that, like,
This man's out of his mind, folks. He's crazy.